Have you ever felt like everything around you is changing? What if I told you that embracing impermanence could be the key to unlocking your true potential? Let's explore how the discomfort of change can lead to your greatest transformation. Stay tuned to discover how embracing change can transform your life.
Everything changes, including your pain. At first, this idea of impermanence might feel unsettling. We often crave stability, something we can cling to. But the world never stays the same. People grow older, seasons shift, relationships transform. Even the cells in your body are continuously renewing themselves. And yet, rather than a cause for despair, impermanence can be our most powerful ally. It can become the key that unlocks our resilience, our hope, and our willingness to evolve. Let's explore that together.
All right, let's be blunt. A lot of folks out there see change as a threat. They complain, my job's changing, the market's changing, my body's changing. Why can't things just stay the same? But think about that for a second. If all the pain, all the struggles, and all the heartbreak in your life were permanent, imagine how hopeless that would feel. No light at the end of the tunnel. No chance for redemption. Nothing but a stagnant rut. Instead, impermanence means your worst day will pass. Your heartbreak will soften. Your wounds will heal. That's not loss. That's a lifeline. It's a chance to reset, to start over, to keep growing, rather than suffocating in the same old routine.
In Buddhist thought, the recognition of impermanence is one of the very first gateways to freedom. When you see clearly that all things arise and pass away, you become less attached to the fear of losing them. After all, how can you truly lose something that was never yours to keep? And let's not confuse impermanence with indifference. Recognizing that everything changes doesn't mean we stop caring. It means we appreciate people and moments more deeply. We cherish our loved ones precisely because we know time moves forward. We become more fully present because we understand the fleeting nature of each breath, each sunrise, each conversation.
Let me tell you a story. A friend of mine once lost his job, freaked him out. He poured years into that company. Everything felt like a total collapse. But guess what? That so-called catastrophe turned into an opportunity. He took a risk and started something new. A year later, he told me he was glad the old gig fell apart because otherwise he'd never have had the courage to move on. That's impermanence in action. It's a rude awakening at times, sure, but it can be the very thing that pushes you to evolve. If you want to stay in the same place forever, you're basically betting against reality. And reality always wins.
We often say we want growth, transformation, and progress. But those things can't happen if everything stays frozen. Growth requires change, and that includes the painful parts of our lives. Think of a forest after a wildfire. The flames ravage the old growth, and we mourn what's lost. Yet, soon after, fresh life sprouts with newfound vigor. The ashes become fertile ground. This pattern shows up everywhere in nature and in our own journeys. Of course, no one wants to endure heartbreak, failure, or loss. But the fact that nothing, even your suffering, lasts forever is the very reason you can heal, adapt, and flourish. In that sense, impermanence is not a curse. It's a promise of constant renewal.
Some of you might be stuck on a certain pain right now. Maybe it's a toxic relationship or a past mistake that haunts you. You're paralyzed thinking it's all you'll ever feel. Well, guess what? That's not true. If you gave it time, effort, and the right perspective, you'd see that wound begin to scar over and fade. The question isn't whether your life can change. The question is whether you'll embrace that change or fight it. You can dig your heels in, refusing to let the situation transform. Or you can step forward, face the discomfort, and find new ground under your feet.
Sometimes we cling to what we know, even when it hurts. We fear the unknown more than the pain of the present. But ask yourself, is it truly safer to hold onto a sinking ship simply because it's familiar? Impermanence gently reminds us to let go when something no longer serves us, allowing space for the next chapter. In meditation, we often focus on the breath. Each inhale comes, each exhale goes. It's a subtle practice in accepting change. You don't fight to prolong the inhale or resist the exhale. You simply experience the rhythm of life unfolding moment by moment. And that same rhythm applies to your emotions, your relationships, your entire existence.
Let's talk about pain. Because pain is real, it's loud, and it demands attention. But you know what's also real? The fact that it's never permanent. Sometimes it feels like it'll last forever. I get it. But it doesn't. Pain evolves or dissolves with time, or you find ways to adapt. That's why I say, stop giving pain more credit than it deserves. Stop acting like your heartbreak, your failure, your loss is going to define you for eternity. It won't, unless you cling to it so tightly that you won't allow it to pass. If you're brave, if you accept that nothing lasts forever, you'll see you have options. You'll see there's life on the other side of this hurt.
In many teachings, impermanence is often described as the first taste of liberation. Because once you see that even your worst fears and greatest sorrows can and will transform, you're no longer a prisoner of the moment. You can make choices rooted in patience, in understanding, in hope. Think about it. Every major growth spurt in human life is tied to transitions. Graduating, moving cities, changing careers, breaking old habits. The transitions may be scary and uncomfortable, but they bring new possibilities. If you live your life refusing to welcome change, you risk stagnation, regret, and eventually the bitterness of wondering, what if?
People ask, but how do I embrace impermanence when it feels like my world is falling apart? Simple, but not easy. You acknowledge your emotions. You let yourself feel them fully. And then you remember, this too shall pass. It doesn't mean you're dismissing your pain. It means you're giving yourself permission to live beyond it. Look, I'm not saying roll over and let life just happen to you. I'm saying understand that everything has an expiry date. The good, the bad, the joy, the sorrow. Use that knowledge to push forward, to appreciate the good times, and to endure the hard times with dignity. Because eventually, they'll shift.
That brings us to the heart of our message. Impermanence is strength, not loss. By accepting that all things change, you empower yourself to adapt instead of break. You open yourself to new beginnings instead of clinging to stale endings. And when pain arises, you don't see it as an eternal prison, but as a passing storm cloud. Yes, it's dark and intimidating, but it will drift away, often revealing a cleaner, clearer sky than before. So, rather than fighting reality, learn to flow with it. Impermanence isn't there to harm you. It's there to remind you that you are far more flexible, resilient, and capable than you believe.
Let's wrap it up. You're not stuck. You're not doomed. You're a human being living in a world of constant flux, and that's good news. It means your next chapter can be better than this one. If you're willing to let go of the past, face the present, and step into the future, take a moment and ask yourself, what pain or situation do I fear is permanent? What if I looked at it as just one stage in a bigger process? Instead of surrendering to hopelessness, choose to trust that life moves forward, with or without your permission. Might as well work with it, right?
Remember, everything changes, including your pain. In the eyes of awareness, that is the first step to freedom. If you're brave enough to see it, you'll find that no sorrow, no challenge truly lasts forever. Embrace impermanence and you'll discover a deeper sense of gratitude, possibility, and inner strength than you ever thought possible.